Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Will Ross. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. If you haven't already, leave a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it as I'm trying to grow this channel as big as I possibly can. So a big question in car buying is how much is my car going to depreciate as soon as I drive it off the lot? Is that going to be a huge number? Is it actually going to appreciate for me? And today I kind of wanted to put a list together of cars that are a little bit older that are starting to go up in value that not a lot of people know about yet. So if you want to take advantage of them before they skyrocket, before I believe they're going to skyrocket, then this list is for you. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss the last one, so stick around. Before I get into the video, I want to say apologies for the lack of uploads recently. I've been majorly sick, as you can tell. I've still got a little bit of a cold and allergies are kicking in as well as school ramping up, but trying to get to a regular schedule again, and this is my attempt at doing so. So thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate the support while I've been gone, and I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get into the video. I also want to preface really quick that the video is totally random cars. There's going to be off-road cars, there's going to be sports cars. Without further ado, the number one on my list is the Suzuki Samurai. So interestingly enough, I was looking at buying one of these like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I was looking at a really clean Samurai for around $2,000 or $3,000. That's like under 100,000 miles. And now if you try to find a clean Samurai for under 100,000 miles, you're looking at paying upwards of $12,000 to $13,000, which is actually insane because people are starting to realize how good of an off-road car this actually is, and not to mention the capabilities of modifying it. So number one is Suzuki Samurai because it's literally a Jeep compact, and it's a really fun little thing that you can zip around. The miles per gallon are actually really good. They're 28 city and 29 highway. But the caveat for this car is that it being a 1995 compact, cheap, it's not got a lot of power. So it's coming in a 1.3 liter 4-cylinder 66 horsepower engine, which again is not a lot, but for a 1995 compact little fun thing that you can find for under $15,000, I think it's a steal. I'll throw some pictures of what I think a good Suzuki Samurai looks like. I actually saw one driving down the road not too long ago, and it was my first time actually seeing one in person, and it did look really, really cool. It quite literally looks like a small Jeep, but I really appreciate the people that drive it because it takes a lot of work from it going into a small car to a cooler kind of modified Samurai, not to mention that these are definitely going to go up in value for the next years to come. And honestly, I think it's not even hit its peak yet, so if you can grab your hands on one of these Samurais, I suggest you do so because people are just starting to realize how good of an off-road car it is, and get your hands on one and modify one before they start skyrocketing. Maybe you can own one for a couple of years and make some money off of it. The next one I'm going to put on my list is the BMW M Series, specifically the E46. Now, why I'm saying the M Series at all is because honestly, you can't really go wrong with the BMW M Series, and they're all a little bit appreciating each at a time. But I'm going to pick the E46 specifically because we all know about the E36 and how it's just skyrocketed in value up near like a Supra and GTR if you want to find a clean one, which in my opinion is actually insane. But I think that the older brother, the E46, is actually going to do the same thing soon, and it's nowhere near that value. You can find a clean E46 for under $25,000 to $20,000, and I think that, yeah, that sounds like a lot, but honestly for what you're getting, it's a massive steal. And in my opinion, these are going up in value recently in the past couple of years, but it hasn't hit their peak, and it's nowhere near. This fun little sports car has a inline 6 engine pushing out around 338 base horsepower, which is pretty insane for the time that the E46 came out. You can go for a manual or automatic in this one. I have no preference, but honestly I'm a manual guy, so I really like the manual option for the E46, and especially for sports cars. I mean, you might get hate if you have an automatic sports car, so trying to find a manual one may push up the value a little bit more, but then again, it also may push up the value for when you're trying to resell it. So the E46 is a great option for a sports car that you want to keep and hold, but also one if you want to modify and still sell it. And basically I've paid nothing after a couple of years. Now, it is going to be one of the more expensive cars on this list to maintain, obviously because it's a BMW, and the E46 did have its issues back in the day, but if you take care of it, don't push its limits, and you kind of keep it, maintain it, and you're not looking to really push it that hard, maybe daily drive it on the weekends, then I think the E46 is a great car to keep in the garage, keep maintained, and as long as you're just nice to it and keep up with the value, you should be fine. This thing, whenever I see it at a car meet, is a massive neck breaker. Everybody wants to look to the side whenever one pulls out, not to mention that they sound amazing with the right exhaust on. And I think that this is only going to increase over time because these are becoming more scarce in the car scene, and if you can get your hands on one now and drive it around, people are going to love the way it looks, and you're not going to really have to pay anything to own it. Now, my number 2 on the list is the BMW E46 M3. Jumping to another category, again, number 3 on my list is the Toyota Land Cruiser, specifically the 1990 to 1995 versions. So I could go on and on for days about how reliable a Toyota is, but if you buy a 1990 Toyota Land Cruiser right now, it will last you longer than if you buy a new car of some brands out there. And I'm not saying most, but Toyotas are so incredibly reliable that buying this car and then reselling it, and like the value that a Land Cruiser holds, is absolutely insane. And all that packaged together, you're gonna pay a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the most expensive on the list. And actually a clean Land Cruiser, you're gonna wanna look around a $40,000 to $50,000 mark. But the reason I'm putting on this list is because while it might not be attainable for a lot of people, if you can somehow put a down payment on a $40,000 to $50,000 car and truck, the Land Cruiser is a massively great option, especially if you're wanting to pay little to nothing to own it, because these are only going up in value. In the past 3 to 4 years, the Land Cruiser has not gone down at all, it's gone up in value, and I believe that they're only going to continue to do so. Not to mention that this is also a massively respectable car in the car scene, and I think that if you have one, people are going to constantly want to talk to you about it. People are going to want to ask where you got it, and people are going to want to buy it from you. And I think that the Land Cruiser is nowhere near from reaching its peak, and I think that if you get one now, that you could sell it for $70,000 to $80,000 here in like 10 to 20 years. Now, I'm going to talk about modifying it, because I always do with all the cars that I talk about. The Land Cruiser Modified is just an overlanding beast. If you want to turn this into an overlanding truck, you can do so easily. Since it's been around since 1990 to 1995, the parts are out there and they're easily attainable. And not to mention that if you grab one of these and like make a YouTube channel around it, it's gonna get so much traction. Like, not many people have these. So if you can get one base and turn it into some overlanding monster, like, that is gonna draw views, I believe. So, and I don't have the money to do that, or else I'd buy one myself. But the Land Cruiser is a great option for either wanting to drive it daily and just have it as a nice car. Like, it's still a nice car even though it was made in the early to mid 90s. Or if you want to modify it, turning it into a beast, or just let it sit in the garage and maintain it and sell it for more later, which in my opinion is the safest option if you want to get the most bang out of your buck later in the years. But number 3 is the 1990 to 1995 Toyota Land Cruiser. The last one on this list, in my opinion, is my favorite because not a lot of people really know about it, and the JDM car scene in America is absolutely insane, and it's only going to increase in popularity in the next couple decades. And this one car right here is one that you can find clean for not that much. It's the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. So I'm not really sure why not a lot of people know about this car. It's great looking, it's great specs. It was made from the early 90s all the way up until 1999, which is the golden age for JDM cars, and I just don't see them a lot at car meets. Not to mention that the value is not that high to grab one, and it's only a matter of time before people realize that there's not a lot of clean JDM 90s cars out there anymore, and people start going for the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. These cars can be found in a 3-liter V6 and up to 320 horsepower, which again for the 90s is really insane for a JDM car. Not to mention that this looks just as good to me as a Nissan Z. I think that the Zs are really good like base modifiable cars, but the 3000 GT just looks more appealing. And I'm sorry to any Z fans out there, I'm a Z fan myself, but this 3000 GT is just something that I can't really turn down. You can find a really clean one under $15,000, which is an absolute steal. I believe that the 3000 GTs are going to absolutely peak in the next few years, especially because it's really hard to find a clean, non-modified JDM car for any brand, for any model nowadays, not to mention cars like the Supra, cars like the GTR, cars like the Zs are starting to become pretty much unattainable for most people. If you're gonna try to find a clean one, you're gonna pay up to $80,000, $100,000 for a clean Supra or a clean GTR. The 3000 GT really hasn't met that scene yet. And yes, there have been some that have been modified. Obviously, they're JDM cars. Some people catch on and like the look of them, but I think that it just hasn't caught on to the car scene yet, but it's definitely going to. And if you wanna get your hands on one right now, you're gonna be paying under $15,000. And if you're 18 to 20 years old, 25 years old, and you're looking for a car that you wanna modify, maybe a first car even, this is a great one to buy and modify. And I just know it's going to go up in value. It just has to, with the history of JDM cars and how they have been over history. So you want to get one, modify one, sell one, and pretty much have paid nothing for it, then that 3000 GT is your guy. So number 4 is the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. And with that, that is the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around if you did. With all the hectic stuff I've been going through and this, illness, whatever is going on in my body, kind of finally leaving, I'm going to try to get back to a regular uploading schedule. So please stick around and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I also own a Tacoma that I'd like to do some videos on. I just passed 10,000 miles on it, so I'm gonna be doing a review on that soon. If you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button. But thank you so much for sticking around. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.